Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is your girl, Tra Ravenel, Life and Marriage Disruptor. Merry Christmas Eve to all of you out there. Hello to my replay viewers. Thank you so much for hitting that button to come on and to listen to what I have to say. And day 14, I truly appreciate you. I did not take that for granted. Listen, I'm traveling today, so I will not be on long because I'm still trying to get ready. I have to go into the dryer and all that other stuff. So anyways, we are on day 14 of enough is enough. Come in and say enough is enough. Hashtag enough is enough. We've been talking the last 14 days about breaking behavioral patterns in destructive marriages, and it's been a journey indeed. I know so many have been blessed by this message. This is something that God gave me to share. He placed a burden upon my heart, and I vowed that I would do it for 21 days. I've never, ever done a impromptu 21-day challenge. I've done challenges in the past, but I've never done like an impromptu and just drop everything and say, okay, I'm going to do a challenge. So this is definitely God, and I am so thankful that my spirit just obeyed him. So I'm talking today about character, a little bit about character. And what I want to share with you is that, every marriage has adversity. Every marriage goes through their issues, their problems. They're faced with challenges and opposition. So don't be mistaken. Even the best of the best marriages, even those that may look perfect to you, even those that may appear perfect, they all go through it. But here's the thing. When you go through adversity in the marriage, it reveals character, but it also shapes your character. So what adversity does when issues arise, right? Opposition and challenges arise, you see the person for who they are, and you're exposed for who you are. It is very hard to hide who you really are in the marriage. Marriage forces us to come together and be in such close proximity and space with another human being to the point we cannot hide, and they can't hide from us. And when you have unresolved issues, and when I say issues, I'm talking about, things of your past that you haven't resolved, past relationships with spouses, ex-spouses, boyfriend, girlfriends, children's parents, your parents, and things of that nature. And if you have things that you have yet faced in your own life, what happens is you bring that into the marriage. And when you start to have problems, let's say there's an issue with money, and you may have married somebody that's poor money manager. You may have married somebody that, didn't save money or has a lot of debt or poor credit score or whatever the case may be. And then the conversation around money comes up, one day you're in the household. That person may then get very offended when you're having that conversation because they're trying to hide something. So they're afraid, fearful, right, of the truth coming out. And then there's a measure of shame and guilt that's also associated to the way that they're feeling. Same thing when you have a conversation about children, or you have a conversation about communicating with you, just so many different things. So when you refuse to deal with those areas, it comes up. So in the same breath, if you married somebody that grew up in a destructive household, in an emotionally destructive, emotionally abusive household, then they get into a marriage and then they become that person, or in many cases, they marry that person because it's familiarity. So when there is adversity that pops up, not only do you need to be aware, okay, what is happening with us in the moment? How, why is this happening in the moment? What is happening in the moment? And how can we redirect so that this conversation, and more importantly, this marriage does not dissolve? Good morning, Tiffany. What can we do right now so we can redirect this conversation so that this conversation does not blow up and this marriage eventually dissolves? What happens in a lot of cases is that couples try to avoid the issue. They try to avoid the issue. So, okay, you get in an argument about finances or about the children or about not spending time together or about sex or about whatever, him drinking, her drinking, or doing something you don't like. So you get into the argument. But then the argument is never resolved. You stop talking, right? You argue about the issue. You stop talking for a little while, be it a few minutes, hours, weeks, months for some. And then you just come back like things are normal. And you never really resolve the issue. I talked about the wound. A wound. If you have a wound, WOUND, you can't just pretend that it's not there. If you don't address the issue, that wound is going to get infected. And it can end up infecting other areas of your body. You can end up with, what is it called? Septics? I think it's septis or septics. You guys let me know what that is. You can end up with a staph infection. You can end up with so many different things that can then jeopardize your livelihood altogether. And that's what happens in marriage. There are things that are unresolved from her childhood, his childhood, from adulthood, and you don't resolve the issue. So there's always a gnawing pain. Anybody ever had like a sciatic nerve or just a pain that wouldn't go away? Unresolved issues in marriage is like a pain that won't go away. It may not always hurt the same way. You know, some days it may feel better than others. Like, you know, I had a sciatic nerve. Some days the sciatic nerve was really painful. Other days I was able to bear through. Some days I couldn't walk. That's how unresolved issues and adversity is in marriage. It'll get you to the point where your marriage cannot stand and it cannot walk. So while you're thinking the issue is finances, or we can't get along, or you know, he won't save or she won't save, or he or she keeps spending all the money, or he or she does not know how to talk to me, or whatever, while you're thinking that's an issue, it's a much deeper problem that you've brushed over, or in many cases haven't even addressed as to why you are going through what you're going through right now. So I challenge you all this week. I know it's the week of Christmas. I know tomorrow we celebrate the birth of Jesus. However, I still want to challenge you to just take a step back and really look at your marriage where it is right now. And ask yourself, how did we get here? Refuse to blame your spouse, but really just look at, okay, how did we get here? Of course, both parties have something that they contributed to the state of the marriage right now. Both parties. Even if you feel like you didn't do anything, you not doing anything, right? Both are contributing factors. So ask yourself, how did we get here? And why are we here? I want you to really start looking at the deeper issue. Start digging deep. Start recalling when conversations about the thing that you used to argue about the most started feeling real uncomfortable. Start thinking about that when you were at the store and the car declined and he or she got agitated. Start thinking about those times where the argument just didn't fit. When, you know, you thought you were arguing about not making the bed up, but it got way worse. Like it turned into like a knockdown, drag out argument that didn't make sense. Or when he didn't take the trash out. Or when he didn't answer his phone or show up when he said he was going to show up, and you just blew out of proportion. And that led to many blow-ups thereafter. See, here's the thing. We got to stop looking at the surface and the symptoms of the issue that brought you where you are right now, and start going a little deeper and discovering the ultimate problem. Identifying that, dealing with that, then you can move on from there if that is your desire in your marriage. Okay? All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to go because, again, I need to get situated before I head out here today traveling. I pray you all have a Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas. I'm debating if I want to come on tomorrow because it's Christmas. I might just come on and say Merry Christmas. I don't know. I'll see. Don't look for me. But I may or may not. I don't know. But it's not going to be 6:30, I'm sure. So I pray you all have an amazing Christmas. I pray you didn't spend too much money in trying to get those kids and everybody else gifts. I know that we've made it into this huge gift giving day, and it's so much more than that. So thank you all my replay viewers. I appreciate you guys jumping on now. I'm going to head out. Go back and listen to the replay. Let me know if it did bless you. It blessed me indeed. And I'll see you soon. All right. Bye.